Vincenzo's Go Crypto Investing this Sunday, September the 7th, 2025, cryptocurrency and blockchain technology video update before the market opens. And you can see the coins are like we thought this weekend that there wasn't going to be much happening this weekend. We were pretty good, not ahead of that for you, saying we thought it would just sort of stagnate sideways and consolidate within a range, and that's what it's doing. You can see today again the XRP price moving the 50-day moving average in the daily pumped up from the, we'll delete these now because you can see what was going on. Pumped up from the 100-day moving average at the $2.78, pumped straight up to the 291 or the overhead 50 today. And now you can see it's consolidated back down to right in the mean of the volume or the mean of the price action. And you can see this weekend there really wasn't much happening. It's just been trading sideways, exactly within line with the forecast here with Vincenzo's gold crypto investing. And we ask you to bell notification. It's free. Subscribe down below. That's free too. Share it. Comment and help spread the truth, trust, education, and information to get more and more people in here so they can be buying assets under a dollar depreciating world. You want asset appreciating things in that kind of environment where you have a chronic inflationary environment and a chronic killing or devaluing of the dollar. And that's what we do here at Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing. And that's why we ask you to help to get this message out because it's very valuable and time sensitive because the gold bullion hit 36, that's right, $3,600 an ounce. And our target from Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing from April of 2020 was $3,500 when it was sitting at 16.50 an ounce. We've hit that target. You can see the $2.52 200-day moving average in XRP is just below the $2.55. And that's I think where our next move is going. I think we got to retest that 200-day moving average, but right now we're still consolidating within just underneath the 50 and just above the 100. And you can see where you've been doing that for since about the last couple of days in the holiday weekend of Labor Day and the first full week of September. That's the area we've been trading in, and that's the area we've been consolidating in. And if we look at the XRP price and see if there's any news, Pro Ripple attorney outlines the disadvantage of RLUSD. Nobody cares. XRP volume crashes 66%. 6 billion Ripple XRP transferred in ETF. Hype Bitcoin faces 100,000 crash debit. Shiba Inu prepares. Bloomberg, an analyst, explains why XRP and ADA ETFs could be the next in line. Business buys 1,755 Bitcoin daily, adding 1.3 trillion in 20 months. XRP runs out of chances versus Bitcoin. XRP ETF approval odds top 90%. I think eventually there will be an ETF. El Salvador adds 14,000 troy ounces of gold after Bitcoin accumulation pause. And I think that's very interesting because he might be taking some of those profits and you need to buy gold. And central banks and governments around the world are starting to monetize gold and silver bullion again. And they're buying it by the truckloads, by the semi-load, right? And that's a big purchase by El Salvador. And that's why I believe gold is going to 5,000. It's going to eventually be at 10, but five's the next move. Not much news. But the XRP price, that's the short-term technicals here. As long as you're below the 50-day, it's going to want to ride to 278. But if you break that 278, you're going to come straight down here to the 252 and 255 horizontal support and resistance along with that 200-day there. It's followed by potentially a slight rally. If we're trying to get bullish out of this weekend, you need to get above the 50, work your way back to the 307 and just be sitting on top of that. And then you can be you'd be a lot more bullish than you are now, but you're below all three of those and the 50 starting to decline while also maybe creating a mountain double top while simultaneously the track that predicted the pump and that consolidation is also predicting a decline over the next 2 to 3 months. And that's something that we're going to see if that happens because you could see a targeted low potentially of $1.20 and that would be the 200-day moving average in the monthly time frame or either the 162 or the 213, which are the 100-day and the 50-day in the monthly time frame, and also the 50-day in the monthly. is right at that old neckline resistance and support, and right where the trading has been there for almost 3/4 of a year now. So that's something that we're watching with the XRP price. The XLM price is the same thing. Track shows a similar track, shows the consolidation. Then it actually trading up and sideways for the remainder of the year. But right now, we have a descending overhead 50-day moving average right there. We have a parallel running 100-day moving average. We'll delete that because we're not going to buy your truck because you're advertising on a stock site, which is running parallel just above the critical support and resistance box. That it starts at 32 cents, where you're just below right now, where you've been consolidating for several days, and you're just below that critical support and resistance area. And it goes all the way down to 31 cents, which just above that is the 200-day moving average. And if you can't get back above and the volume comes back in, and where I think you're going, I think the next major move is down here to 31 cents. Could you, before that, just like the XRP price did today, could you have a squeeze where you shoot straight up to the 50? Absolutely, because they like to follow each other, which would be a false signal, a false breakout, and would pile in some retail traders. If between now and when the market closes and the new weekly candle opens this evening, you have a 7 or 8% pump, you would have a bunch of retail and leverage traders getting in on it just to see a classic roll over. And then sometime this week, it ends up at the 31 cents, right? And then that you can see that 31 cents is just above the monthly time frame moving average, right? Or the weekly time frame moving average. I don't think it's the monthly. Let me just double check. It's not. It's the weekly time frame moving average, and we actually have to move that up because it's moved up a little bit. So let's see. We'll move that up, and then we'll lock that. Then we'll move. That's not it. We'll unlock oh, it's unlocked. We'll move the 50-day up. Come on. Maybe it needs me to zoom closer. Move the 50-day up, and then we'll lock it. And then we will move. Why does it need me to get so close? Oh, this one might be locked. Then we'll move the 200-day up, and there you go. But you can see it's ever so close to that weekly time frame at 29 cents. So that's what we're going to be watching this week. You can see it's been bearish the last 3 weeks. And we're going to see if we can't get a rebound this week. To get a rebound, you get back above the moving averages and make a run up here to this 43 cents. And that would be very, very critical. If we move along to the Ethereum price, you can see it's also been down, and we thinking it's coming to the megaphone neckline support, which is the $4,114, and that's where I think it's coming. But you can see if we go into the daily time frame, you can see it's been consolidating sideways like we thought it would this weekend. You can see the 50-day is now just below the megaphone neckline support. You can see the 100-day moving average is now above. Get rid of that. Now above the 3,476 or top part of the green support and resistance box. The 200-day is just above the bottom part of that box at 3,000 and change. 200 is sitting at 31.98 and 84 cents. I think we're coming back like the forecast has been since we got rejected up at the top of a new all-time high, that we were going to come back down to the megaphone neckline support. I think that's still happening. I think it's going to happen more than likely either tonight or tomorrow. And then there's either going to be a nice ferocious bounce because there should be a lot of buyers there, similar to what happened there, or the buyers were exhausted and it's going to be a fake out where you get a slight bounce and then you actually crash down to the 100-day moving average and retest a major moving average at 36.17, and then you would have your major support at 34.76, right? But that's all to be determined. I think in the short term, the next major move here with the XRP is it's coming into the megaphone neckline support, and then we're going to have to follow that and see exactly what happens with that. The Bitcoin price is still sitting just below the major 3.5 year rising channel support and resistance, which now you can see it's used it twice in the last week as resistance, where you wicked up to it and quickly got reversed. You can see right now you're sitting exactly on the 100-day moving average or slightly above, with 111,000 and change at the current price and 110,600 and change as the current 100-day moving average. And you can see the aforementioned 3.5 year rising channel is right there, and you can see we've had the we've we've had a step down fashion where you can see how high up on the support and resistance when you first initiated. This is our major upper resistance. This is our major lower support. Ran up the first time after that, and you overshot it and made the highest run past and into the upper resistance. Came down to lower support. Second run up got rejected just on, along, and underneath of the rising channel. It didn't have a blow off move like that. Step down. Then you came down and fell a little bit deeper down and almost attempted a breakdown out of there by having a fake out. Then on this last recent 6 month pump, you can see it's just struggled right along the lower support of this rising channel and a step down, almost signifying and telegraphing and giving you the tea leaves that the price is about to have a major structural change for the first time in many years. And that change is going to be to the downside. And if it does go to the downside, here's your initial targets to pay attention to: 95,000, 79,000 and 60,981. Those are the weekly time frame moving averages in the Bitcoin price. And those are the areas that I feel are the most significant on the way down as soon as you breach all three of the daily moving averages, which you are just below the 50, just above the 100, and sitting comfortably above the 200 day, but not very far away. And that all is predicated on, do we have a major rejection confirmation breakdown here? Or do we just get back into this channel and continue to lollygag like nothing ever happened and trade up? That's something that we're watching, something that we're going to pay attention to. And obviously, as a jabroni killer and an asset millionaire, we're going to continue to stay on top of the news, the trading, the investments, and the insight to get you to where I am and going. Asset millionaire. Peace and love. The Rex Eyebrow J. Altcoin update coming at halftime.